Okay, podcast starts now.
Wow.
Wow. It is an amazing day to be a podcaster.
In Midtown, back in our home, or Hell's Kitchen.
It's hard to tell these days.
Whenever we enter a studio, my mind goes blank.
See, I also it's so weird that you're trying to define what neighborhood
I know,
we're in,
I know.
because it's
already.
it's like I don't see borders.
I know, and I'm trying to put a label on it.
Yeah, and it's like maybe it's fluid, maybe we sort of it's sort of Hell's Kitchen, it's sort of Midtown, and yet there's some Lower East Side flavor in here.
Yeah, where? Having just spent 2 hours at a Gregory's Coffee, I wasn't getting a lot of Lower East Side energy.
I know. I can't imagine what that was like for you. How did you change in those 2 hours?
Well, actually something happened that really made me feel part of a community, and the community being the people that work at Gregory's Coffee, because I was the only one there with my laptop, which is that, so the entire time they were playing the most top 40 Target, shopping in Target, Uber radio music. Okay, so it was we got Charlie Puth, we got a Meghan Trainor, we got I'm good and I'm feeling alive. That one.
Your favorite song.
My favorite song, of course. And then it got to a Pink throwback. It was one of her sadder songs. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was sort of and you did that to me, and that's why I'm moving on. Those are, I think, the exact lyrics. And I could see the guy working behind the counter just get fed up, and he was like, you know what? Enough. And he went back and turned fully off the music, and then it was just silent in the store.
Wow.
A minute passes. I hear something coming on. You better believe it's Fresh Air with Terry Gross. And then I was like, okay, I'm at home. I am in a space where there is an entire team working to make me feel better.
Wow, that's so powerful.
I know. And it's it just goes to show you, first of all, people will surprise you. Second of all, leave your stereotypes at the door. And third of all, Gregory's Coffee is really different than what is not what we think it is.
No, we think of it as this, sort of soulless chain.
Yeah.
Sort of, it's not even Starbucks. It's this secondary, not cool chain.
In fact, what is it?
Let's start there.
Okay, so because to me, I'm when did it even start? Does it exist outside New York?
Not that I know of.
Okay, I don't like things that can't commit to being either fully a chain or fully indie and artisanal.
You're literally describing us.
Oh yeah. Well, but with us, there's a wink. Why Gregory? Also, it's Gregory. I'm sorry, but Greg. I mean, it's such a. I just need a little something. I mean, Starbucks at least has the mermaid.
Yeah, but they're going for a 2010. They were my brother used to work for this advertising agency called Mustache because it was 2010
100%.
hipster.
I'm there.
And Gregory's Coffee is trying to do the same thing. They got a tattoo of a mustache on their finger and thought this will be cool forever.
I think you're absolutely right, because their logo is basically someone with sort of hipster glasses, what you would refer to in 2011 as hipster glasses. And basically they just haven't hired the right branding agency to remake their logo, so they're stuck there, and we are left to pick up the pieces. As a consumer, you have to make sense of what you're seeing.
It's also okay, actually, if they moved to, let's say, sorry to attack you, Midwest, Cincinnati, Ohio,
yes,
and they opened a Gregory's Coffee in Cincinnati, Ohio, it would feel new, it would feel edgy, and they would be like, oh my God, hipster coffee.
Totally. See, you can say that because you're from the Midwest. I would never deign to say what would or would not do well.
Of course.
And
I'm sorry to
direct quote, they are left behind in 2011, I believe you said. I wouldn't necessarily go that far as someone who has had a really good time in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the one time I went.
Sure. Well, Ann Arbor is an exception, I will say. And I just think if the place it works the least is actually New York City, which is so...
Right.
Painful because that's the place where they are.
But here's the thing. This is the duality of New York, is that in Midtown, New York City is the Midwest. When you are, it is basically remote workers, but rather than being home, they are in an office. It is digital nomads. It is people with no culture, no roots, no heritage, no family.
Sure. Wow.
And to them, the symbol of a Gregory's coffee is maybe impactful.
That's true. I do forget about. We all know that my view of NY City residents is actually very, very small and includes 35 people.
I have to say, this is really one of the defining things about you, I would say.
I believe that every New Yorker is 32, lives in Bushwick, is gay, and works in comedy.
I would say it is wildly close-minded. It's actually crazy. Every time we do something that is outside of that, you're like, what is this? Like,
I have to say, we were at an event yesterday, and I'm not going to attack it because that's not. I'm a company man first and foremost. But it was a corporate event, and the whole time I was like, "Oh my God, I'm in a movie."
Well, I'm sorry, but that's what you. It's funny because you kept saying. So we were at an event. I'll say it, hosted by iHeart, our parent company. And it was like a very normal sort of like, there was a panel about something, there were keynote speakers, there was someone like making a speech and saying the word storytelling, there was the word redefining being used.
Of course.
You know, it was sort of that. And of course, like we have the same sense of humor. I also look at that and I smirk. Lord, do I smirk?
Yes.
But when you said it's like we're in a movie, I was like, you know, those movies are based on, like, literally this is what like corporate culture is like, and then it's sort of so ridiculous that then movies make fun of it.
I was like, oh, I can't believe it's that extreme.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like I actually think if I am ever feeling creatively dry, which I am, I think I literally just need to like go to a normal person's job and be like, oh, right, like life happens.
I was thinking that so much yesterday, and honestly, I've been thinking about it, especially since the pandemic, when I'm often home all day, even when I did have a full-time job. There is something that's like, I used to pride myself in not being one of those comedians who like only knew about comedy because I always had other jobs. I like have had other chapters of my life. I've worked in other industries, whatever. And I do think now I have lost that a little. Like with remote work, you have lost that, and you're like, what is a thing I can reference? Can't think of anything. Like, it's like, you guys know how when you're in your bedroom, which is in which there is the specific mattress that I have?
Which one is great for ad reads. I think that can be really helpful. And two, I think because of that, we are going to see, this is Trend Watch. We are going to see even more comedy that's like, yeah, I was going to watch a movie, but then I remembered nap.
Oh my God.
It's going to be a lot of like, is it just me or does someone need to get these Triscuits away from me?
Home-based humor.
Home-based humor is in.
Home-based humor is in, and here's the thing with homes, much more so than other spaces, you genuinely don't know what's relatable and what isn't because you actually can't live in other people's homes. Whereas at least when you're in an office, you see other people's experiences of it. You see, maybe you have a meeting in someone else's office and you see what another office is like. Maybe you, go to a conference, whatever. There are constantly times when you're interacting with other people and seeing what is a you thing and what is a universal thing. But with homes, that's simply not the case.
It's simply not the case. You have to perform for your roommates and your loved ones.
Yeah. And maybe that's what we're working towards is basically like household-based niche content production where there is like a specific artisanal social media website for each household and people can only relate to people that live with them.
Yes, that's so good. And it'll be like, landlord is like this. And everyone's like, that is so true.
Everyone's like, that is so Richard. Damn.
Wow. I love that. I also, yesterday, being at an event, it's funny to be like, oh my God, it's like I'm in Succession. And it was like, yeah, it's people wearing collared shirts.
Literally. Although we have to say, we made a friend.
A dear friend.
A dear friend. I can't say his name just in case. You never know with these companies if they're going to fire someone just because they talk to us.
That's true.
But we did make a friend. He was such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
To be in a space where we felt maybe a little other. Of course we were being gawked at because we are on-camera talent. And other people are not.
Yeah.
But this guy just came in with such an air of authenticity. He was like, I'm one of you guys. I might work here. Like, yeah, I have a desk. But when I go home, I put on my pants one leg at a time, just like anyone else.
He was actually so cool.
Yeah.
And it was like, in that moment, I was like, damn, I can really go into any space and I will
100%.
have a friend.
He
The
was-
vibes were right.
You know, and you know what? I remember like when I think it was when I did How Long Gone, and Chris and Jason asked me what do I think is like an appropriate ideal straight man?
Mm-hmm.
It's that guy. And you know why? He said something that he was trying to relate to us, and he was basically trying to say, I know gay people. That was what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And there are so many ways to do that poorly, but his way in was, my wife has a lot of gay friends. There is this gay couple that we hang out with, and we were in a fight the other day, and me and one of the guys were on one team, and my wife and the other guy were on the other team, and we were debating Gaga versus Adele. And we go, Gaga all the way. And he goes, that's what I said.
And we said, you, our mother.
We said, where is your podcast, sir? We'll give you our listeners.
Mister, you work in iHeart. Just walk into the other room and hit record.
Literally walk into the red room,
Smash that
record button,
and say, don't edit a word of this.
and hit publish.
The cover art, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Just hit send. The people need to hear my voice.
Oh my, okay. Wait, and sorry, go ahead.
Well,
because there's the other, there's a sneaker thing that obviously literally needs to be adapted into a screenplay.
We can get to that. That's genius. But he also, there actually is no right way to say, like, I have a lot of gay friends.
Exactly.
And the fact that he said it, I think we were both like, uh-oh.
Yeah, we were like, maybe he's going to try to overcompensate for being straight.
And then it became so immediately clear that he actually does.
Yes.
And that is such a marked difference. And I was like, like, with you, I can relax. Like, I was literally like, oh, I know exactly who you are. I know what you talk about, and I know how you talk about it.
Also, guess what? The idea of a wife guy gets a bad rap. When he was talking about his wife, I was eating it up. I was like, she is so lucky to have you. She is so, I don't know her name, but Lisa is so lucky to have you.
You two are perfect
You
together.
two are perfect together. This marriage is going to last forever. And I am going to speak when you renew your vows.
And that is a promise. Because I believe today, I re-believed in love.
Not just that, but oh, straight marriage, oh, straight wedding, so regressive and conservative. Guess what? He has 2 new gay friends. That would not have happened if he hadn't gotten straight married. He is arguing, he is literally like sort of snapping his fingers like he's on Drag Race and arguing in favor of Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
At a dinner party.
I think he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
He can say,
What's crazy is like that was literally like one night stand of friendship.
French. Yes, we're never going to see him again. He
Never.
doesn't. His work doesn't really overlap with like the kinds of. He doesn't work on the StraightioLab account. There's no way around it.
Quite frankly.
He doesn't work on the StraightioLab account. He was simply attending this event. It was really like, you're at a conference in Reno and you meet someone and you have one night together, and then you say, "We'll always have Reno."
We'll always have Reno. It's like a camp friend. It's like. But if you're listening, which he said he was going to.
He did say that. Because he was, we gave a little spiel about the pod, and he was like, we have so many podcasts here. Like, I haven't listened to you guys, but it sounds that's such a brilliant idea. And in fact, you know what he said? It's something my friends and I talk about all the time. And when he said that, I was like, maybe he's gay.
Of course. And then he threw the wife down.
He threw the wife down,
And
but in a subtle,
whoa.
Then
And I
who are
said-
your friends? Who are your friends that what you talk about every day is how overhead lighting is straight?
Okay, wait. So gay,
Gay.
but wife.
But wife.
So wait, what's going on then?
Does not compute. But then he did. We have to get into the sneaker thing.
We have to get
Because
into the
that,
sneaker
I
thing.
think, is the connection. That is the kind of thing that is like, this is what I talk about with my friends all the time. Because the sneaker thing was literally him doing an episode of StraightioLab and dissecting straight culture.
Yeah. So he pointed out that in the culture of that particular office, sneakers are a huge element of
Yes.
the culture, where the higher up your position is, the more expensive and rare your sneakers need to be.
Right. So we were talking also about like the trope of people who work in the umbrella of marketing, branding, advertising, maybe even like digital sales, whatever, all that stuff, sort of like on the business side of a quote unquote cool company. And I was like, the sort of the modern suit, now that people don't wear suits to work, is like raw denim, like expensive APC raw denim, blazer, and expensive sneaker.
Yeah.
And he went off in a way that like We gave him a prompt, and he ran with it.
And it was evidence-based because he even pointed to his own shoes.
When he did this.
And was like, I bought these because have to come into the office starting next week.
He was saying, after going off about how, like, you know, they had been working remotely and now they're slowly going back to the office. And we were, like, doing a whole thing about, like, sneakers being the new status symbol, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I mean, look at mine. We look down. Sure enough, he's wearing new sneakers. He goes, I bought these 2 days ago. And he goes, I can show you the Zappos order. The specificity of I can show you the Zappos order?
It's the opposite of previous episode discussing Aquafina saying Postmates. Like, it was
exactly
authentically specific.
It was not Aquafina, and this is no shade to Aquafina who did not write the script for this film, but it was not Aquafina saying in the trailer for the Nick Cage Dracula movie, you're the guy that delivers the villain his Postmates. It was not that. It was authentic and it was lived in.
It was lived in, and you could just tell. There's not a script for this stuff, but you can tell.
No, he did not come prepared being like, I have to be funny for this episode. He came and was and as soon as we brought up sneakers and he was like, oh my God, I can contribute to this. This is like how I relate to these guys. He immediately got it. I have to say, I miss him already.
I miss him so dearly. I also, like, when he was talking about sneakers, it reminded me that I had seen an interaction that didn't make sense to me at the time, but then did make sense to me.
Oh my God.
Where someone said to an employee, like, oh, I see you're wearing your office sneakers. I saw you carrying your other shoes. And I was like, I realized in that moment, like, it didn't make any sense to me. And then it was like, oh, he wears outside shoes and then wears office sneakers that are fancy. This goes so much higher than I could have ever thought.
It really is like, I mean, it is a trope. It is like exactly the kind of thing we are salivating for. It is like a foreign element of a culture that we are not a part of. That, like, you enter the office and you know by looking at people's sneakers who is a director level and who is a senior manager level.
Yeah.
And those two are not the same.
And our connection with this man was so strong that it was sort of like, we looked around because we were like, okay, we're probably supposed to talk to other people. And then he was like, you know what? Like, I should probably go. And we were like, honestly, goodbye.
We were like, this has been fulfilling enough to keep us fed for months. And if you need to talk to your other coworkers, that's fine.
That's fine. And we looked around that room and we said, we've had enough. And we left.
Because we left immediately after.
Yes, through the wrong doors.
Yeah.
Of course. And then we interrupted the one woman working there.
Yeah, we did. It is very telling that of all the marketing women that were there at that event, we're talking dressed to the nines. We're talking full beat.
Mm-hmm.
And we are talking hair that has just been professionally done by a celebrity hairstylist. We didn't interact with any of them. We did not connect with any of them. We connected with our friend, with the wife and the gay friends.
Yeah. So next time you have a man in your office with a wife, don't judge him.
Don't.
He's potentially a beautiful soul.
Don't go straight gunning for the woman with the clipboard just because you think you understand her type. Because that's actually offensive to everyone. It's offensive to the woman, it's offensive to the man, and it's offensive to you. As a gay man being sort of like, completely succumbing to stereotypes and being like, oh, I want to talk to Trisha.
Yeah. There was a woman, I mean, even like the one woman I met, I was like, surely we're going to be besties.
Yes.
And then it was instantly clear, like, oh, we don't connect on any level at all. Which, who would have thunk? Huh. So that was pretty much our big event. Sorry,
should we do
the time? Sure.
First segment?
Sure.
Oh, wait, should we address? No, we're not addressing that it's just us. I don't feel like it.
We can.
Well, it's just us.
Well, it's just us.
We don't have a guest. And guess what? That was planned.
And that was planned.
And that's not even like a joke where it's like, ha ha ha, the joke is that we had a guest and they canceled and we recorded last minute. No. We booked studio space to do this by ourselves.
And for the record, no one's ever canceled.
Yeah, no one's ever, well.
Shh.
Okay.
No one's ever canceled. In fact, sometimes we double book.
Yeah, we double
book. And then
book.
we cut them. And we make them compete.
Mm-hmm. And people have died.
People have died, mysteriously.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Death is just a part of life.
Let's just say there's a reason certain people are no longer employed in Hollywood after doing this podcast. Well,
okay, should we do our first
let's
seg?
do it.
Okay. So this is kind of random, is that we're going to do our first segment to each other.
To each other. We've never done this before.
We've never done this ever. And also, what's weird is like normally we like explain the segment to the guest.
But we can't.
Like,
I guess we should explain it to like the listener who clicked on this without ever listening to the podcast before, potentially.
If you clicked on this episode without ever hearing this podcast before, first of all, thank you.
Congratulations. And also, the idea that like your way in was like, oh, carpeting is straight. Totally.
Totally. I love that.
Yeah.
They exist probably. So our first segment is called Straight Shooters, and basically we ask each other a series of rapid fire questions in which we gauge our familiarity with and complicity in straight culture. Okay.
Sam.
Sure.
Clocks by Coldplay or Cocks and Ballplay?
Clocks by Coldplay. George, seizing the means of production or making a red wine reduction?
Making a red wine reduction. Sam, redefining storytelling or undermining your mother who works so hard?
Redefining storytelling. George, Mother Earth, Father Time, or Baby Yoda?
Father Time.
Oh, someone's got daddy issues.
Okay, the proof is in the pudding or the cheap engagement ring is in the cake?
Cheap engagement ring is in the cake. But that was a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. George, the girl from Ipanema or Guy Fieri?
Wait, the girl from what?
Ipanema.
What's Ipanema?
I don't know. It's a place. It's that song.
Okay, the girl from Ipanema. Okay, this one I wasn't gonna do because it's so bad, but since it's just the two of us, I think I can. Thelma and Louise or Velma is a lesbian?
Stupid. Velma's a lesbian.
She's a lesbian.
A lesbian? Wow.
Yeah.
Sure, I love that. It's kind of fun.
Well, you know, when you're almost there, you're 3/4 of the way there. I had Thelma, I had Louise, and I had Velma. I couldn't think of anything that rhymed with Louise. Or Velma is, you know, blowing in the breeze? I don't think so. She's famously now a lesbian.
Yeah, maybe like Velma on her knees looking for her glasses.
Oh, that's good. See, that's why they pay the big bucks. And that's why, unfortunately, I am banging the gavel and saying you won this round.
See, I was going to say that you won this round because
Why?
Because you actually did have 4, even though I only had 3.
It's crazy because that is so... You are doing the thing I was doing when I saw an old headshot of myself. And I was like, basically, long story short, someone used a headshot of me that was legitimately taken when I was like at an old day job when I was 23, literally like before I did comedy. Because they Googled my name, whatever, it came up, they put it on something. And I was like, well, I can't not address this. This is insane. And Sam was like, literally? No one has noticed this but you. There is no way anyone has looked at that and thought like, oh my God, he doesn't look like that anymore. That is exactly what you're doing now by saying that I did 4 and you did 3. No one was counting.
You're 100% right, and thank you for calling me in on that. It's so weird when you are thinking about something and no one else is.
I know. Wait, yeah.
But for yesterday was particularly weird with the headshot thing because we watched a panel at first where there was a headshot and a guy had an old headshot where he looked significantly younger.
Yes.
And you pointed it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I think you felt like karmically bad that it was then happening to you.
Wait.
Minutes later.
This is actually, this is a really fruitful topic. The idea that something is bothering only you and no one else, but yet you feel the need to address it as though it's a community, problem. And it actually... 2 things. A, it goes back to the idea of artisanal content created only for households. Like, it is literally that instinct where you're like, well, I feel it, so everyone else feels it. And 2,
yeah,
I have to say on a personal level, it is something that it took me years, and I'm still unlearning that you shouldn't address it. For so long, let's say I was, I don't know, constipated. In my mind, I'd be like, well, I have to address it. Like, it's just like, if anything was on my mind or bothering me, I was like, well, that's a topic of conversation that everyone can participate in.
Yeah. It's hard not to do that. I mean, it always fails. It is never good.
Because it's not relatable.
I did this thing, I did the thing that I hate recently, which is I was doing a show and they introduced me by saying they love the podcast, but the phrasing they used, and it was meant to be a compliment. It was all very positive, and it was supposed to be like playful fake language.
Yes.
And they said, his podcast raised me. And I was feeling self-conscious because it was a room of younger people.
Yes.
And so I went up and I was like, raised you. Old. Someone's calling me old. And I was like...
And if that doesn't hit immediately, it never will.
It never will. And I was like... And then I looked just bitter. And I was like, oh no. And I've like... When I was 24 watching the 30-something comedian perform and would do that and would like panic.
No.
And I was like, what's wrong? No one cares that they're in their 30s.
No one.
And then... And now to be the one doing it, I was like, oh no.
Also, talk about something that only you feel. There's something specifically about being in your early to mid 30s as a gay man, where in your mind you're like, well, we have to address that I'm old, but literally everyone else is like, you're like literally look like everyone else in Bushwick.
Yeah,
it is because if you are 60 and doing a show with all young people, it's charming and funny to bring up that you're old.
Yeah,
no one cares that you feel old when you are in your 30s. Literally, no one cares. It is not interesting, and it is not impactful.
It's not impactful, and it's even just like simply self-consciousness.
Yeah.
It is like not, there's not a marked difference between a 25-year-old and a 32. It's like grow up, chill out.
Yeah, grow up literally.
Literally.
And maybe then you can talk about being old. Because guess what? You're being a toddler right now.
You're acting like a child.
Being Einstein for babies, or whatever that, baby Einstein.
You're being baby Einstein.
You're being baby Einstein.
I mean, I guess it's nice that you kind of also gave a compliment in there.
Yeah, cool.
That was really...
Yeah, you're smart for a baby.
Yeah, really fucking smart, but you're still a baby. Probably the smartest guy ever, but baby.
The smartest baby ever. Other than Boss Baby.
He's not smart, he just has business sense.
Well, in our world, those are synonymous.
Oh my God. Wow.
Should we get into our topic?
I think we should.
Okay. Well, I'm really happy we're doing this topic because this is sort of your pet topic. We were brainstorming topics for something else, and this was the one that you suggested, and then it really made you laugh. Am I wrong?
If you had told me that you came up with it,
really,
I would fully believe you.
Oh my God. I was like, it was just like a very charming Sam moment that's like what you went to, and then I was like, that's genius. That's my memory of this brainstorming session.
Wow.
And you know what else?
What?
When I suggested it as a topic for this episode, I was like, Sam will be so grateful that we're doing this topic.
In a brainstorm, sometimes you come up with something and it hits in context. Totally. And it's sort of like, I feel like this topic was like a shift from what we were doing, and that made me happy.
Yeah.
When you texted me about it, I was like, I think we can talk about that one.
Oh,
which is so funny.
It's so funny. We've now reversed because I am like, I could not be more excited to talk about this topic. I've like already thought up theories.
Well, then let's begin.
Okay, I want you to introduce it though.
Okay, our topic today is carpets and carpeting. Carpeting.
I know
Carpets?
You said that you don't remember coming up with it.
Yeah.
But I want you to look deep inside yourself and think like, what sparked something in you that said this is straight?
Carpeting, it spoke to me, I think, because it's in homes that are specifically not going for chic.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're not going for something.
No, it's so true. It's so true. The goal is not chic.
The goal is not chic. The goal is practicality. The goal is like the babies can roll. Mm-hmm. And the goal is like we bought this.
Mm-hmm. The goal is we bought this. Yeah.
The goal is we bought a home.
Yeah. And
we're happy with that.
Right.
But like that's where the goal ends.
Yeah.
It's like we bought it, so that's awesome.
Okay. So you're getting associations with home ownership and child rearing.
Yes.
I mean, already, of course, two tenets of straight life.
Yeah.
For me, there's the covering up. It is the act of covering up.
Well, very, very literally, it covers up. It's hiding.
Exactly. It is. I'm trying not to say shame-based because obviously we sort of overuse that sometimes in our metaphors.
No,
but it is like, the ugly actual materials that the house is made of, we have to cover them. And put on a smile and welcome the Johnsons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sort of like, well, God forbid anyone knows what this is made of.
It's like toxic reputation, like being like, well, it's a home, it's not a house.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't built. It's always looked
like this.
Like this.
Yes.
There's no materials here.
And then, I mean, not to bring this up too early, but that is very much in conversation with the rug, which is the opposite. Because the rug is you're putting a little hat on something. Mm-hmm. It is an accessory. It is playful. You are playing with materials. You are a stylist, and you are styling Zendaya for a shoot.
You are La Roche.
You are La Roche, pre-retirement. And you are saying, Mama, you gotta go to the Critics' Choice Awards, and you're not gonna look busted doing it.
No, you're gonna look incredible.
You're gonna look incredible. And we're gonna mix textures, and we're gonna mix colors. And if people don't like that, then they can suck a dick.
Pejorative. I also think a rug, one, of course, it acknowledges the past.
Yes.
You can literally see what was and what will be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not erasing anything.
No.
It's saying, yeah, that is what is here.
Exactly.
But we're doing this.
And it's not linear. There's something about a carpeting that's like, the house started this way, then we hid it because we were ashamed of literally every decision we've ever made. And now it looks this way. And isn't it beautiful? Oh no, am I bleeding? You know? And then with the rug, it's like, there's a certain cheekiness to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also not pragmatic. It's ornamental. It's ornamental rather than like functional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, in fact, often a rug is anti-functional. Like a sort of like fluffy sheepskin rug that you're putting in a sort of cocaine apartment. That's gonna not be good for cleaning. It's gonna get dirty. Like you're gonna lose an earring in there.
Sure.
But you're doing it for the love of the game.
It's for fashion.
It's for fashion,
not for practicality. Suburban homes in general have such a what's that called? Sanitized look, which is obviously not new. That's literally the premise. That's like why they exist.
Yeah.
But it is weird that people don't have more fun with it. I'm kind of surprised where it's like, you do have a house.
Here's the thing, though. When they do have fun with it, what you get is the sort of trope of the McMansion. It's like they have fun with it by putting a bunch of cylindrical additions to the house all around the house. And each of them has a bay window. We're talking 12 bay windows in a row.
Well, I would be so lucky.
But it's like, what is a way to have fun with a suburban house that is not that? It's like literally cylindrical additions with bay windows. Jungle gym. These are I'm saying like existing ways that I think are not up to snuff.
Okay. I'm like, is it the bones of the house are inherently sanitized, so they just run with it?
Do you think it's that like, it's like putting Converse on with a wedding dress? Like, you think you're being playful, but you are only drawing attention to the wedding dress.
You're right. You should almost lean in. Keep it sanitized. Damn, that's kind of dark.
So our second house in New Jersey, we lived in a very sort of suburban area, and every house was like a different fun color, but the garage doors were all white. No one painted their garage doors. My parents painted the house, and it was like a yellow and a green, but they didn't know that it was not done to paint the garage door. So they were like, well, of course we're painting the whole house. Let's paint the garage door green with yellow squares. So like, you know how a garage door has squares? It was like green with yellow squares. So they were like, well, yeah, like it has to match the house. And then lo and behold, we sort of looked around after the fact and we were like, oh, fuck. Everyone here knows we are foreign because we painted the garage door.
It sounds kind of chic.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like let's say it was intentional. Let's say my parents were trying to be chic. Is that Converse with a wedding dress, or is that more of a wink?
I think that is more wink because it is unintentionally wink.
Yeah.
Like, I think the fact that you weren't like, look at this.
Totally.
It was lived in. Mm-hmm. It came from a very sincere place. And I think that sells it.
Yeah. Do you know, it's sort of like taking something that's meant for one context and putting it in another context. It's sort of like when people have like, when people like have a leather bikini. You're like, well, that's not supposed to be made of leather.
Sure.
Or like a tutu that is in a army print or something. It's like, oh, it's mixing, like it is a material that doesn't go with what you're making with it.
Well, I also think it's like the Converse and the wedding dress is such a thing because it's a pushing back of like you're aware of what is normal and you're pushing back on what is normal.
Right.
And for your family to paint the garage door, you're not pushing back on anything, which I think makes it.
It's true. It's based in ignorance. So I guess in that way...
It's not reactionary.
It's not reactionary. And I guess in that way, because it's unintentional, you could argue that it's camp. In the sense that we thought we were being, if not chic, then appropriate. Like we thought we were stepping up to the plate and being good suburban Americans.
Yeah.
And we showed in our ignorance the artifice of it all.
Yes. Did this house have carpet?
Well, so it's interesting you say that because, in fact, the previous one had carpet. So they rented a house that had carpet. So it sort of came that way. They did not choose it. And then we bought a house that didn't have carpet. And the one that had carpet had I would say, canary yellow carpet throughout the house.
Okay.
I would say, I'm looking at my computer screen right now, it is the color of the Stickies app on a MacBook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's kind of fun. That's like kind of 70s.
It was kind of 70s.
Well, and this is what needs to be addressed. This is something I was thinking about while I was eating my Chipotle before coming here.
Yeah.
Which is carpet is very 70s, which is a gay era.
It's true. So a carpet can be gay if it harkens back to the 70s?
Yeah. Because like a shag carpet, I think, is gay. Totally. As soon as you make it impractical, hard to clean, hard to keep.
You're absolutely right. I mean, the impractical thing is the thing with the rug, too, is what I'm saying.
Totally.
It's like, basically, with rugs and with carpets, the more impractical it is, the more gay it is. The more practical it is, the more you are literally, like, screaming home ownership.
Yeah. I think there's something to that. And I was honestly thinking about the 70s, and it was making me laugh to think about the 70s as a decade where everyone was culturally gay and sexually straight.
Oh, that's interesting. You think they're sexually straight?
Well, they were sexually everything, but
people are. I feel like 70s are like. It's tough because it's people desperately trying to be alternative. The 70s, I feel like it is a suburban kid trying to have an orgy.
The 70s, well, it's also like everyone wanted to be impractical.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to be stylish. Everyone was like taking in art cinema for some reason. Yeah. Everyone was doing drugs. It was like very like, everyone was like being 32 and gay in Bushwick.
Right.
You know? Which is why the carpet in that era was impractical.
Right.
I also, speaking of the 70s, this is a question I kind of want to ask you that I was thinking about while eating my Chipotle again. My brain was going wild.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a really inspiring Chipotle meal.
Yeah, it was really amazing. That's when I do all my best thinking. I'm actually writing a movie about it.
And it's sponsored by Chipotle.
It's called My Day at Chipotle.
We met at the iHeart event, and I really gelled with the brand.
I really gelled with the brand, and we just have this similar goal of getting the brand out there.
What they're doing is redefining storytelling.
And what they're doing is it's seamless integration. They're taking the burrito that you love, that I love, and they're putting it in media that we all love.
And it's B2B, business to business. Don't ask how, but money is being made.
Okay, so is it gay guy hack to be obsessed with the 70s?
I think it's straight people. Here's what I think, and obviously I'm saying this with no knowledge of the 70s. I wasn't alive, not to brag. But to me, the 70s potentially were radical in their own way.
Sure.
But then fetishization of the 70s has, over the years, completely sanitized them to the point where, I mean, the damage that the hippie Halloween costume has done cannot be overstated. It's like the fact that kids dress as hippies, and it has been defanged completely of its association with like activism, drugs, anti-government sentiment, like literally like anti-capitalist, whatever, like the actual music, whatever. It is literally like, oh, isn't it fun to put a little peace necklace on and a tie-dye shirt?
That is actually one of the darker things. I've never thought about how cruel that is that happened.
Yeah.
Where they took something that was radical and made it a Halloween costume.
Well, guess what? That literally happens with every single subculture without any exceptions.
I mean, there hasn't been like vague 80s guy. Like, I guess the closest is like Risky Business or like when people do that.
That's an interesting, but 80s though, what was radical in it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what was the radical thing, like the anti-establishment thing in the 80s that you would then appropriate?
And the thing is, there wasn't. The 80s were all about the establishment.
Exactly. They were all about big institutions.
Yeah.
And they were about Reagan being on the cover of Vanity Fair.
Yeah. Like, when people are doing...
Oh, wait, I know.
What?
This is so obvious.
What?
It's like sort of... It's the gay culture of the 80s that has been, like, sanitized and sold back to us.
What's that?
I mean, it's like... It's like a denim jacket with like ACT UP pins on it. It's like
sure. Well, for gay guys, yes, but it's not.
But also, it's drag. 80s is like 80s and 90s is very much like the drag of that era was very sort of something different and underground or whatever. And now it is being sold to us in a. I feel like that is. I know that's gay specific.
That's gay specific.
So what is like the straight version of that?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for the 80s, it's just like dressing like Miami Vice, but that's not like
that's the thing.
Commenting on anything.
What were the anti-establishment straight people doing in the 80s? Am I crazy?
You're not crazy. I just don't think they were being silenced is what was going on.
There are Gen X people that are listening to. Oh no, but that's 90. I was gonna talk about like the Gen X slacker, but that's 90s.
That's 90s.
So what the fuck is happening in the 80s? Is there no one? Literally, this is the reason why the gay rights movement was so suppressed for so long. Is because no straight people, like all the straight people were being American Psycho. All the straight people were working in Wall Street, and all the straight people were working for the Reagan administration. And no matter how many voguing gay people there were, it was not enough.
It was a time to be in the establishment. Establishment is good, and we love that.
I'm literally Googling. Oh wait.
What?
Hold on.
Okay. Oh my God, ASMR.
Because I was sort of like, could you argue that disco? But disco is 70s. This is like firmly 70s. Like, I'm Googling like 80s music.
But it's not.
It's Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi is not anti-establishment.
Was the anti-establishment stuff in the 80s like the Smiths or something?
Sure. What were they railing against? What was their point of view?
They hated people that ate meat?
Sure. I'm literally it's like, I like a lot of these musicians. You know, I like the Eurythmics, I like George Michael, I like Madonna. I don't know.
Well, okay. Well, sorry if you were alive in the 80s. It sounds like a tough time.
This is crazy. People are going to like boycott.
No, they're not.
I mean, yeah. I was maybe rap, but I think 90s rap was more impactful than 80s rap.
100%. Let's move on.
All right. Sorry, is this not interesting?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. I can't believe you let me go on for so long. I had no idea this entire time you were like, please move on, please move on, please move on.
You know, George, I think that was maybe really powerful in the way that you redefined storytelling.
I cannot believe you let me go so long. I was truly...
I think what you did was you said, what if the whole thing was that I don't have anything to say?
No.
What if I'm wondering what to say?
But what if I found something?
Did you?
No, but I'm saying, like, oh, why? Just because maybe I won't find something, I shouldn't go on a search?
I think it's good that you looked. I just think that maybe there could have been, the looking could have gone less long.
Where should I have stopped?
I mean, we need to play back the episode.
Do you think I should have stopped when I said, like, okay, gay people were anti-establishment, but straight people were not their allies. They all were American Psycho. Maybe I should have stopped there.
Yeah.
Because that was a punchline.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
sincerely apologize.
Hey, George, don't apologize to me.
Okay.
Apologize to the person that is listening to this podcast. Do not apologize to me.
Well, back to carpets.
Can I tell you something weird?
Please.
I think I like carpets.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I actually wish there were more of them. I actually I'm thinking about it. I think maybe it's trauma based, but I love when I'm in a I've talked about this the suburbs when I'm in a Target,
Yeah.
Like a real Target, not these Manhattan fake Targets.
Don't get me started. I actually don't care. Go on.
When I'm in a real Target, I feel transported to my childhood. I feel like I am, moving around every 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
I feel like I'm connected to literally every location I ever lived in that had a Target. And I feel so whole. It's very everything everywhere all at once. I feel...
Wow. Wow. Wait. Chains are everything everywhere all at once.
Oh my God.
Literally. It's like each of them is in a different multiverse. It is like in a different part of the multiverse.
You can connect to who you were the last time, wherever you were.
And also, by the way, that one girl with the blue hair and the lip ring that works in each of them, all of those are different versions of the same girl.
It's true. It's true. And so carpet kind of does a similar thing where it taps into a childhood feeling of safety.
Totally.
And even oh, this is what a home is.
Right.
Whereas an apartment will always, with a wood floor, I'm like, yes, this is cute, but it will never feel like a home.
Well, I have 2 responses to that.
Of course.
Shockingly.
Thank God. If you only had one, you'd be over.
My one response, of course, is to problematize what you're saying.
Wow.
And say, do you think that, the fact that you feel safe with a carpet is because of your white suburban upbringing, and that in fact for other people in other communities a carpet might be a source of evil coded.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's because it represents the nuclear the
white
suburban
hegemony.
White hegemony nuclear family.
Sure.
So that's one point, and the other point is, I think the fact that you're saying you've come around to liking carpets points to perhaps an inevitability, which is have carpets been unchic for so long that we are overdue for a comeback?
Oh, wow.
Is it the last taboo?
I mean, I think there's something to that. I think it would absolutely make sense to come back. I think, in the way that like you mentioned earlier, a Coke apartment, I do think people are fetishizing the 70s.
Yeah.
And I think a shag will be the first way in.
Totally.
People love their swirly, curvy furniture.
Yeah. And also, there is such a backlash against minimalist Scandinavian design, which is so rooted in bare wood. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And people are dipping their toes into a more playful sensibility, but no one is brave enough to put down a bright orange carpet, for instance. And maybe that is the base you need.
I mean, there's something to it. There's something to the commitment.
Yeah.
There's something to being I am not transient anymore. I live here. And I'm putting down carpet. I mean, a fun color carpet, I'm actually addicted to the premise right now.
It's just such a big... I mean, imagine if your entire apartment was covered in a bright turquoise carpet.
I mean, it would be insane. Mostly it would be filthy.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, here's maybe an insane sort of reversal of everything we've been saying. Is a carpet, in fact, inherently impractical?
Oh my God.
Our entire theory is rooted in carpets being straight because they're so practical, they're so functional, they're for the kids, whatever. Guess what? If you have a carpet, it's going to look disgusting within a matter of 6 weeks.
You have to clean it regularly.
Yeah. It's not natural. It's not what it's meant. It's not what a floor is meant to look like. You are messing with nature.
You're playing God.
You're playing God. And in that sense...
Oh my.
And in that sense, if you're playing God and you're doing something unnatural, isn't that more... isn't a hardwood floor more sort of serious in a straight way and a carpet more playful?
Wow. I mean, yes. This is scary.
This is really fucked up.
I don't know what to do if we prove ourselves wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought carpet was a surefire. It's suburban. It's sanitized.
Yeah.
But now I'm no, it's actually one of the weirder things you could do. It's turning your home into a hot tub. It's so wacky.
Okay, you know what it's like?
What?
It is like Jell-O salad. It is one of those things that straight people invented that no one like thought to question. And now looking back, you're like, that's crazy. You served like a green Jello as a salad? Like, it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like
Totally.
something that was due to some confluence of different tastes and different people that were like tastemakers at the time. Probably someone put it in a design magazine and then people copied it, whatever. Everyone suddenly had it and it was everywhere, even though actually it's a crazy weird thing.
We normalized carpets,
Yeah.
and now they're unnormalized again.
We are remystifying them.
We're remystifying them.
Yeah. Because other straight things, it's like when you think about like, I don't know, khakis or denim, like those genuinely are functional. It makes sense why everyone got on board. But with carpet, that is a tough sell.
Huh. So carpet's gay then?
Yeah.
Or it will be?
Huh.
Okay, the only reason it's not actually is because of like where it lives.
Right.
The only reason it's not is because apartments in big cities don't have it.
Right.
And homes in suburbia do.
Yes.
And that does mean something. We can't just ignore that.
No, we can't ignore that. And we also have to, once again, it's like it exists in contrast to wood. So maybe it's like we've been going at this all wrong, and what we need to be discussing is hardwood floors. That it's almost like we've refused to address the elephant in the room.
Hardwood floors.
Hardwood floors. Like, are hardwood floors gay or straight?
I'm going to go... This is tough.
I know, it's really tough.
See, it sucks when it's just the two of us because the level of like intellectual rigor gets too high. And it's like...
No, I'm sweating. And
I didn't know I was going to Harvard today. I thought,
yeah, you thought you were going to Juilliard.
I thought we'd be doing some fun little riffs. I thought, we can talk about whatever. And then here we are creating this like mental puzzle for ourselves.
Yeah, no, it's shocking.
I mean, hardwood, okay, it's straight in the sense that it implies like authenticity. It implies like woodsiness. It implies it's masculine in a way. It is gay because it's chic and it lives in cities.
Yeah, and because it's expensive.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like a sign of like, oh, hardwood floors versus carpet. It's like you're looking for a home, you want hardwood floors. If you're like a sort of prissy gay couple with like a little dog, you would never, that would be like a selling point, like these beautiful floors.
Right.
I almost think maybe what it comes around to is like both hardwood floors and carpets are straight and playing with rugs is the gay option.
I think that's it.
You know what I mean?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think we nailed it.
All right.
Well,
we almost died, but we made it.
That was so scary. I've, never felt so unchained. Sort of anything can happen.
It felt like the scene in The Worst Person in the World where they're on shrooms or acid or whatever they're doing. And
I still haven't seen it.
Guess what? You're not missing much. But I'm just saying, it felt like a scene in a movie where someone's like tripping and they are having ego death.
Sure. Yeah.
You know who would have really been able to lead us out of that? Our new friend that we met at the iHeart event.
I bet he would have had such a good idea.
Oh my God.
He would have been like, well, me and my wife actually tore the carpet out of the house, and now we have beautiful hardwood floors.
I bet they did that.
I bet they did that. They did that. Okay, here's a take.
Okay.
Renovation, straight, but just like redecorating, gay.
What do you mean redecorating?
Like just like covering stuff up.
Wait, what do you mean covering stuff up? Redecorating is not covering stuff up.
Okay. So say our friend, he ripped out the carpet to expose beautiful hardwood floors.
Would you say that's redecorating or renovating?
Renovating. Do you think that's...
No, it's actually like... It is ultimately renovating, of course. Like, it's not... you wouldn't call that redecorating. But it's also in this liminal space where, like, it's not renovating in the sense that you're, like, redoing your bathroom or redoing your kitchen.
Sure.
It is a little less intrusive. But it is. I guess it is renovating. It's renovating light. Redecorating would be what? Buying new furniture.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, we're going to make this ugly carpet work.
Yeah. Well, redecorating is... renting culture, and renovating is owning culture.
Yeah. It's also HGTV culture.
Yeah.
People love to renovate. People love a before and after, and people love to like show how they like physically owned a space.
Totally.
Like they were like, no, the wall was bad, and I took the wall down.
People's hunger to like purchase something with the intention of changing it completely.
It's disgusting.
It's so like, I mean, it really is like the slippery slope of consumerism. Like, just fucking buy a house and put a bed in the bedroom.
This is something I'm wondering about a lot. Where I'm like, how much do you need to make things new? Because you do, like, you need to feel fresh. You need to, I get
Totally.
it. But at the same time, shouldn't we just be content with what we have?
Yeah.
I'm always torn
No, I
on
know.
how to feel about new.
Yeah, and also like how to feel about like perfecting something
Yeah.
or versus being charmed by its imperfections.
Yeah. Well, and with apartments in Brooklyn, I
Yeah.
wonder about this all the time,
Mhm.
where it's like, yeah, you could go in one of those like new condos with AC and
Mhm.
whatever, but it's like, but that sucks, right? And it's like, well, it would kind of be nice. And I always am like, well, no, I want the old thing. But it's like, well, the old thing doesn't work very well.
Right. And of course, what adds to that dilemma is that often the new thing is way worse, is a way worse construction. So it's sort of like you can't win either way.
It's true.
Huh.
Huh. Okay.
Gee.
Is it time?
It's time. Should we do shout outs?
Sure. Oh, wait, I had one more thing I want to talk about that I was
Okay.
thinking about at the Chipotle.
Oh my God, this Chipotle trip. This is like your Walden Pond.
The Union Square Chipotle is so peaceful. It's so chaotic that like you experience ego death, and you can finally you zoom out. It's like you're on ketamine, and you're seeing yourself third person, and you're wondering like, what is life?
Yeah.
So basically, my what is life was thinking about also the phrase, "Does the carpet match the drapes?"
Oh my God. The fact that we almost didn't bring that up is criminal.
Like,
wow.
yeah, because that phrase was pounded into our skulls
100%.
all growing up.
It was like the Pledge of Allegiance.
I know it way better
Yeah.
than the pledge.
It's so evocative.
It's so evocative. It's like, think about genitals.
Yeah.
Does the carpet match the drapes? And that people said it so much that I was almost like, does it? Like,
Yeah,
like,
and you're also like, in what context is that important? You know what I mean? Like, who, even putting yourself in the position of like a straight man who's like hooking up with a blonde, but then she's actually a brunette. Like, is that better or worse? Like, in what world does he care?
I never understood it. I never understood, like, it was like, why is this so common? Why is it so common?
Huh.
It's akin in my mind to like, how's it hanging?
Yeah.
Where I've been like, what do you mean?
Do you think that it started somehow when, I mean, it's difficult to imagine this now, but at some point, the concept of women dyeing their hair was new. It was like the equivalent of, you know, I don't know, what's like a trend right now that's like on the cutting edge? It was equivalent of like in the 90s, people getting belly button rings. Like it was like a new thing that people were doing. And it was in fact very impactful because it allowed women to stay younger longer and therefore have social currency for longer because that's how society works.
Unfortunately.
And so maybe it was something that someone invented during that time in the same way that we would have a joke about someone with like a septum piercing. But then it just stood the test of time.
So it's like their Ozempic.
Yes.
I guess. I mean, I feel like what's more likely is that it was a joke in one singular hit movie in 1985, and people quoted it forever, and to the point where it just became a phrase.
Yeah. Maybe that was the counterculture of culture of the 80s, is that one movie that coined "Does the carpet match the drapes?"
Yeah. And it's so sad to see that culture become so watered down.
Yeah.
I'm actually being Does the Carpet Match the Drapes for Halloween this year.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome.
Damn. So maybe that phrase too, like, is another argument in favor of carpets being straight, because that's, I mean,
that's true.
There's no way to reappropriate that. Like, you simply can't make it queer. Like, saying "Does the carpet match the drapes?" is bad.
It inherently is like, oh, I don't know who I'm talking to.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really like "That's what she said" of its time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Okay, well, with that, I'm ready to do my shout out.
I'll say it. I'm not. I don't have one.
Well, mine is pretty obvious.
Okay. Is it Chipotle?
What's up, freaks, losers, and perverts all around the globe? I would like to give a huge shout out to the Union Square Chipotle. When I was sitting there today, my brain was fully let free. I could see time. I could smell sounds. It was so beautiful. And I just was at the heart of Manhattan eating a chain meal from a chain. I was connected to Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Virginia. I was 5 years old. I was 15 years old. I was 33 years old. And I was so happy to be eating a chicken burrito with white rice, black beans, pico de gallo, the hot salsa, sour cream, cheese, and even lettuce, because I'm nothing if not healthy. I love Chipotle, and I don't care who knows it. And it's fun to connect to the teens of New York City who are there after school. I love Chipotle in Union Square. XOXO.
Woo! Oh man, I know I had a sort of distant look on my face as you were doing that. It's only because I'm trying so desperately to think of one myself. I didn't want you to think that I was sort of like rolling my eyes at you or not reacting well or something.
Hey, don't apologize to me.
I had a sort of blank look.
Apologize to the listener.
The listener doesn't need my apology. Because they understand me, unlike you. What's up, freaks and losers out there? It's your boy, George. I'm doing a funny voice to mask the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I don't have an idea.
Wow.
But I would like to give a quick shout out. That's right, I changed my voice to distract you even further.
Oh my goodness.
To shrimp. I love shrimp.
Oh my God.
Oprah voice, I love shrimp.
Oh my God.
I have found a new recipe for shrimp. And yeah, it's coconut lime shrimp and it's in the New York Times. And I have now made it twice. And both times it has been a complete and utter slay. Shrimp is cheap. It is sustainable. It has it is a great source of protein. And you can do whatever the hell you want with it. And guess what? It cooks really fast and you don't have to wait for a billion hours for it to cook in the oven. And guess what else? It's empowering because shrimp are sort of the cockroaches of the ocean. In the ocean, they are oppressed. In the ocean, they are other. In the ocean, the other fish look at them and they say flop, 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 hate her look, hate her outfit, go away, die. And then when they pass, as we all do, they become gourmet in the human world. We are taking something that was once, it's sort of like vintage clothes shopping or something. It's going to the thrift store. We are taking something that was once discarded, shat on, and taking it and saying, this would look so incredible in my living room. And every day, I eat shrimp, and I love it.
I think that was a beautiful shout out. When you started with the shrimp thing, I was like, oh, he's really lost.
Shut up.
No, but then you found yourself. It told a story.
Thank you.
It was a journey.
Well, that was our first ever guestless episode with that was like a real episode.
Yeah, that was weird. What'd you think? Review, quick.
I feel like I liked it. Right?
2 thumbs way up.
2 thumbs way up.
Well,
it feels crazy to not have someone to be a mirror and to not have someone to break the lines of thinking.
And yet
here we are.
Well,
we barely made it out.
With that being said, bye.
Bye.